Hello everyone, it's Dennis from Promo Navi. Welcome to our webinar with Google's account manager Odolena Kostova on how to maximize your search performance with smart bidding. I would like to welcome all of you to write something in short in the chat about yourselves, and if you have any questions, to write them in there as well, because we will be discussing them at the end of this webinar. You'll get all your questions answered. And welcome Odolena. Thanks for being our guest today. How are you today?
Thank you, Dennis. I'm really glad to be here. I'm feeling great. I'm joining from London, where I'm typically based. So we're having a sunny day today here.
That's great. That's great. So I'm happy to give the word to you at this point.
Sure. Great. Thanks so much. And thank you for inviting me. The topic today is Google Ads search and smart bidding. So a little bit about me. As Dennis mentioned, I am an account manager in channel sales. My name is Odolena. I have also, before Google, I've been working as a PPC account manager, working on Google Ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. So I have quite a bit of experience in this area. And for the last couple of years, I've been working with channel sales, with partners, companies, which help advertisers set up their Google Ads and also other channels in an easier way, usually managing in one place. So I work with a variety of countries across Europe, including Russia, including United Kingdom, also some countries in Africa as well. So I kind of have an idea of what the challenges of small businesses are. So this webinar will be quite targeted to what small business owners and companies that manage small business accounts face when it comes to implementing smart bidding. Here is the agenda. What we're going to talk today about, it's why do we need smart bidding, how does smart bidding work, how to choose the right strategy, how to prepare and launch correctly, and what are some of the most common mistakes. At the end of the webinar, we'll have a list of questions and also a special promotion, which I'm going to share with you. So stay with us until the end. So why do we need smart bidding? A few years ago, it was simple. We would just put our bids on keywords, and that was all. And also Google worked in a very different way. Whoever was bidding higher would get the first position in the beginning of ads. Then we introduced the quality score, which changed kind of a combination between bid and ad quality. But still things were a bit simpler back then when we had only one surface, let's say a desktop computer. Over time, things started changing, especially when mobile devices got introduced. So things like the device, the time, the location, and the day of the week added more complexity to deciding how to bid and when to prioritize your bids. And even more complicated, things like language, search network partner, conversion path, conversion rate, extensions, device type, and operating systems also play a big role. As advertisers, you can set manual adjustments to time, device, location, and day of the week, but the outer circle here is only available once you set up smart bidding and it is adjusted automatically. But I'll go into deeper level in the next slides. Today, also customer search behavior is constantly changing. 15% of Google searches are new. They're completely combinations of words that have never been popped into the search box before. And also we have the impact of voice search devices, which make complicated search results even more complicated. In the past, we could focus purely on keywords and kind of try to understand customer intent through keywords. Now, in order to have the full picture, you need a combination of keyword, time, context of this specific user. Today, automation helps you to understand the intent behind the query. So here is the example of a lead who has previously searched for healthy snacks for weight loss. And therefore, smart bidding can determine how strong their intent is versus someone else who has never actually searched for anything like this before, or maybe is just looking for an image on Google rather than for a specific diet plan. And Google can determine where the intent is with smart bidding. Therefore, smart bidding is so effective when it comes to selecting which keyword and which user to prioritize when it comes to bidding. Automation helps you to be agile and to adjust to trends. So before, we used to predict new demand based on seasonal changes and kind of focusing on historical performance to make our adjustments. Whereas automation helps you to kind of deal with unexpected shifts in demand, especially over the last year and a half. We had so many changes so fast, depending on what's happening. Surges for different queries or different behaviors were changing consistently. Seasonal changes, preferences, as well as business goals. So automation can deal with all this simultaneously and really adjust in a very agile way. Also, the key to masterful bidding is to adjust your bids based on a unique combination of signals. So all this asserted manually is absolutely impossible, and it's very, very difficult process, to say at least. When we talk about smart bidding, there are three strategies which I'm going to focus on most. There is another one as well, but I'm going to talk about maximize conversions. We see that there is a 20% increase in conversions at a similar cost per acquisition when you switch from manual to maximize conversions. There is 31% increase in conversion volume at a similar CPA when you switch from manual to target CPA, and 35% increase in conversion value at a similar return on ad spend when you change from manual bidding to target ROAS. So these are all stats moving from manual bidding for search campaigns. We also have another strategy called maximize conversion value, which is relatively new, but I will talk about it a little bit more later on. So how does smart bidding work? Let's talk about target CPA. So setting target CPA is basically calculating bids on based on your goal. Let's say I want to get a lead for no more than $10. So over time, target CPA is trying to get you the maximum amount of leads for your budget on this specific goal. So what it uses is user intent signals at auction time predicted conversion value to determine the bid, and also search query level performance for your entire account. So it will learn from everything that is already existing in your account, plus take some signals, proprietary Google signals, into the calculation. And therefore form the bid based on a lot of customized details. And the bid is different for every single search based on all these factors. When it comes to target ROAS, the mechanism is very similar. However, it is trying to give you a return on ad spend goal. This is what ROAS stands for. So every time there is an opportunity for your ad to show, the calculation of smart bidding will try to predict how likely this conversion is going to this click is going to convert, and whether this conversion is going to help you achieve your desired return on ad spend. So obviously, the higher return on ad spend you want, the more difficult it is to achieve. So it will be probably your ad will appear less often, and the strategy will be a bit more selective when to show your ads to meet this aggressive goal. And the less return on ad spend you want, kind of like the more balanced you are, then your ad is probably going to show more often. And of course, you are going to spend a little bit more and have a little bit less margin of return. So it is up to the advertiser to decide where their sweet spot is. So Google has some unique features. As I mentioned before, there are a few things that advertisers can already control today with manual bid adjustments. So bid adjustments based on keywords, based on geographic location, device, time, remarketing list. However, Google Smart Bidding uses some exclusive signals like language, browser, operating system, ad format, search partners or search query to make these adjustments, which are not available for manual adjustments. When all these signals work together, bids are much more precise. So you have variety of signals that can be used to determine how likely this user is going to be a conversion, whether this conversion is going to hit your goal, whether it's too expensive, whether it's worth it, whether it's going to give you the right return on investment. So every single time Google is making this huge calculation based on history of your account, based on Google signals, and based on all these factors that you see on the slide. So a combination is always between two or more signals, which are used to determine the bid. So here is an example. With manual bidding, let's say you have a remarketing list where you've done an adjustment of 30%. Then you do an extra 10% adjustment for geography, let's say Moscow. Then for demographic adjustment, you've done another 20%. You end up with a manual bid adjustments of 60%. However, you have no idea what is the probability of this to be an actual conversion. You are assuming that this is someone who is from the right geography on the remarketing list, bid on your website, in the right demographic, but you don't know about their intent and how likely they are to convert. Here is the process with smart bidding. So smart bidding will do the adjustments for you. So it will ignore any existing adjustments that you have and take into consideration the conversion probability. So in this case, even though it looks like this is the right customer, based on the history and the context, it seems that there is a low probability for a conversion. Therefore, it will do a negative bid adjustment of minus 25%. Also, very important is that it will use data from your whole account. So if you are working with a lot of small campaigns, signals from these small campaigns will be also fed into signals that are used for the other campaigns. Plus, the small campaigns will learn from any other conversions that are happening into the account. So here, this brand campaign, which is generating the majority of the conversion, will give signals to these small campaigns with low volume and help them learn and optimize better. So all the conversions that are happening in the account will help each other, regardless whether they're in different campaigns. Here is another example of manual bidding. Let's say you have an average CPC of 30 euro and you have impression share of 20%. Your CPA goal is 36 euro. So based on manual bidding, you win the auction for 3 of the total searches. And therefore, you have adjustments for the CPC based on these users, on manual adjustments, or maybe using enhanced CPC. However, you are missing the intent part. So all these users have they are people with history, with different intention. Some of them are looking for a solution that they want to buy right now. Maybe they need to get in touch with someone who offers this service immediately. And some of them might be just researching, and some of them might be looking for something completely different, maybe just gathering information for someone else, or it might be a query which has very low intent. However, you have won the auction for 3 of them without knowing, and only one of these 3 happens to have high intent. So you have won the auction for 2 people who are not so interested in this service. What happens with smart bidding? So smart bidding will take into consideration the intent part, and will actually manipulate bids up and down. So depending on the intent, it will reduce the bids for customers that have low conversion probability, low intent, and increase the bid significantly for the ones that have a very high conversion history. Maybe they have previous conversion rate, which is very strong, or in general, they are users with a strong intent. So they are going to push the bid for these customers. So here is what happens. The average cost per click will increase, very likely to increase, but the cost per acquisition will stay the same as long as this is your goal. And you actually increased, you had much more conversions because of smart bidding optimizing for intent. So in a way, you kind of kept the same cost per conversion. You got more conversions, you spent more, but you got more in return. And you won, let's say you showed your ads to the most relevant users. So what is smart bidding for? It helps you with seasonality. It helps you to adjust bids dynamically in a very changing, very volatile world and competition. It takes into account changes in search trends, not just data from your account, but also data from accounts similar to you, let's say offering similar services, and provides the ability to target budgets alongside the benefits of machine learning. How to choose the right bidding strategy. So every strategy has its own objectives and own KPI, and it's very important to understand which strategy is for what. So for branding, for example, branding objective, you might have a different strategy. So here we would recommend strategies like target impression share or maximize clicks, which focus specifically on this, on impression share and clicks. And you can start running these from zero conversions history. When your goal is performance, when your goal is conversions and sales, let's say lead generation, we would recommend you to start with either target CPA or maximize conversion. For target CPA, your goal would be the average cost per conversion. So it will focus on achieving this goal that you have set up. And for maximize conversions, it will be purely as many conversions as possible, which whatever is possible with your budget. Both of these strategies can start with zero conversions. And if your goal is conversion value, which is very important for e-commerce businesses, then target ROAS and maximize conversion value would be the right strategies, depending on your goal. So target ROAS, it focuses on specific return on ad spend. Let's say I want 500% return on ad spend. I won't settle for less. Then it will try to get you to this level. For this strategy, at the moment, there is this requirement that you must have at least 15 conversions with value over the last 30 days in this campaign before switching to target ROAS. But if you don't have this, then you can start with maximize conversion value until you get the right volume and you are kind of clear on what return on ad spend you want for a target. So maximize conversion value, let's say, is a good starter. It will try to get you just the maximum value possible for the budget that you have. So it's very important to also align this to your marketing objectives. If you have a goal, then use this goal for your return on ad spend or for your target CPA campaign. If you don't have a CPA goal or ROAS goal, but you have a specific budget that you want to make sure that is spent, then you can focus on maximize conversion value if you're tracking value, or maximize conversions if you only want to focus on volume of conversions. And then you have to also consider whether your goal is generating leads, and maybe you can use offline conversion tracking and import leads to track their performance. Whether it's an online sales business and the conversion value is really the most important part for you, or whether you are driving, let's say, store visits, you're focusing on offline sales and you would like to include store visits in the conversion column and optimize for both for leads and for store visits. So this is purely dependent on every single business. They have their own marketing objectives. How to set up for success? So setting up for success, the first step would be to make sure that you have to get a set of products that work together. So think of smart bidding as this little tiger who needs feeding. It's very powerful, it's very strong, but you have to give it the right nurture in order to perform for you. So one of this is conversion, so very robust conversion tracking, non-last click attribution, so using attribution model which is not first or last, kind of spreads equally or assigns different value to different clicks. If you have data-driven attribution available, this is ideal. Query coverage, so are you using enough keywords? Are your keywords too limited? What kind of matches you're using? Are you using first-party audiences like customer match or remarketing lists, dynamic remarketing? And finally, creatives, how to be relevant for every user in every single context. So getting all these right is really crucial in order for you to set up your smart bidding strategy for success. One very good tip is using the recommendations that are already available in Google Ads interface. There you will see any highlighted problems with your conversion tracking, with your creatives, keywords coverage, audiences that you have available but you're not using. So use these recommendations in order to optimize the campaign. Pillar 1 is conversion tracking. So this is absolutely crucial. For all these strategies that we talked about, starting with strong, robust conversion tracking is very important because otherwise Google Ads literally cannot see. And it's very difficult to understand and to optimize with low volume of conversions. So it's important to track also the right conversion actions. This might be micro conversions like sign-ups or newsletter subscriptions, or it might be some kind of other steps along the journey like adding to a cart for an online shopping business. Here is an example for generating leads. You will have different stages on the funnel where you can track these conversions and make sure that you include them in the conversion column in order to allow Google Ads to optimize the smart bidding strategy to optimize for these conversions. So you have like people who visited a particular page, sign up for late newsletter, and then down the funnel you have phone calls, form submissions, qualified leads, and finally a closed deal. Here is an example for online sales option where you have an e-commerce website. You have time on site could be a conversion, product impressions, clicks, adding to a cart, checkout steps, up to finally transaction. What if you have very low conversion volume? So then it's important to focus on conversion actions that bring significant volume. So in the lead gen example, this might be visited page or form submissions or phone calls. And if you're, let's say you generate thousands of leads, but only close very few, you can use offline conversion tracking to import the closed deals and to monitor this. But if these are very few, it makes sense for you to optimize for the ones that are higher in volume so that you keep the volume in and smart bidding will be able to work with this data. If you only have very, very few closed deals, then it will not make sense for smart bidding to optimize for these because they will happen very rarely. What if these conversions are not equally important? And this is true for a lot of businesses. Visiting a page is different from a phone call, different from a form submission. So what you can do is you can assign values to each of these stages of the lead gen funnel And you can optimize for value the way you would optimize for e-commerce sales. You can optimize, let's say, for maximize conversion value or return on ad spend based on lead value that you have assigned to your conversions. So in this case, you will be using these two strategies, target ROAS or maximize conversion value. For these two strategies, you need conversion tracking and you need an assigned value to this conversion. So it's either the cost of a product that you're selling or kind of what this phone submission or phone lead is worth to you. How much is it worth to you? Then creatives. With creatives, we need strong advertisements, so good quality ads, making sure that you add at least one responsive search ad per ad group with strong ad strength, so focus on improving this to good or to excellent, and at least 3 types of extensions per ad group. And here you can all use these recommendations that are popping up in your Google Ads accounts to make these changes and to see where you have opportunities to improve your creatives. And finally, coverage, target, and budget. So the most important part is always launch with the average CPA or ROAS goal of the last 30 days. So this is a common mistake we see. People would want to try target CPA and they set an unrealistic CPA, which has nothing to do what, let's say you've been getting average cost per conversion was $50 the last 30 days and you want suddenly to be 5. So in this case, you are not using your data, you're trying to do something unrealistic, and the strategy is going to struggle with this goal. So always make sure you use the search, let's say the search CPA from the last 30 days from all the campaigns that you've been using. When it comes to budget, with target CPA and ROAS, the campaign should not be constrained by budget because it's trying to get you leads for a certain cost per acquisition or a return on ad spend. If the suggested budget for uncapping is too high for you, then it's better to switch to maximize conversion value or maximize conversions. These will actually work with whatever budget you give them and try to give you the maximum volume or the maximum value. And finally, an important point here is with keywords coverage, use impression share less than 75%. If your impression share before moving to smart bidding is already over 75%, means that you are having you're pretty much covering up everything, like all your keywords. So it means that you have to expand, maybe add some broad match keywords, maybe add DSA or add new keywords to the volume. But if, let's say, you have a very kind of stringent exact keywords in this account and you have like 100% impression share, there's not so much for smart bidding to optimize for. So here are the examples of, let's say, a brand campaign and a performance campaign. So for a brand campaign, your goal is to appear as much possible on carefully selected keywords. So here you can go with exact match. You can focus on target impression share. You might have a very high impression share and your impression share might be way above 75%, but that's fine because this campaign has different goal. For a performance campaign, where your goal is to get leads and sales, then it's important to kind of uncap a little bit the keywords, to have a bit broader keywords to match all these variety of search queries that we see every day, these voice searches, these complicated new searches. Then use a smart bidding strategy like target CPA, maximize conversions, target ROAS, and your KPI should be accordingly the KPI of this specific strategy. And try to keep the impression share between 10 and 70% for these keywords. If you see that you are going towards 75, try to get it broader, try to expand to more keywords or broader match. Also, another advice here is start looking at your OptiScore suggestions or the recommendations in the Google Ads interface. There you will see suggestions for new keywords, for adding dynamic search ads, or for changing from exact to broad match, for example. If your ad groups, in your ad groups, look for keyword ideas and progressively change the match type of your keywords until broad match. So we see very good results with completely broad match keywords and smart bidding because they are able to capture these type of fluctuations in user behavior, these new searches, and really help you to get a lot of value out of your account. Also, pay attention to your negative keywords. You might have accumulated way too many specific negative keywords, and some of them might not be relevant. So you see this account has like 77,000 negative keywords. And as I said, Google Smart Bidding is trying to focus on intent. So it will actually take out a lot of irrelevant searches and kind of negatively bid on them. So you don't need to be too precise with your negative keywords, and sometimes too many negative keywords might be stopping your campaign from optimizing and actually catching some valuable queries. And now we're going to go through some of the most common mistakes. We partnered with some of our technical specialists at Google and found some of the most common pitfalls. First, starting with a very aggressive target CPA or target ROAS. So always make sure you either using target CPA or ROAS goal, which is recommended in the recommendations, or use a CPA goal which is based on your history. Let's say last 30 days cost per conversion, last 30 days return on ad spend, and start with this. You can then gradually manipulate this, let's say reduce or increase with 10-15% per every couple of weeks, but use a realistic goal. Second, analyzing performance while the strategy is still in a learning period. So with all these strategies, you have a learning period where you will be able to, you will be learning a lot. The campaign will be optimizing itself. So it will take some time until it actually gets to the stage where it's performing without learning. So this may vary depending on the volume in your account. So if you have a lot of conversions and your conversions that happen frequently, then your campaign is going to learn faster. But for accounts with low volume, this might take a few weeks. So you will see actually the status of the campaign, whether it's learning or it is already eligible, and making sure that you always exclude the learning period from your analysis. Also, making sure that you take into account your conversion delay when analyzing performance. So you see last week you had amazing amount of performance of conversions, and suddenly this week there are no conversions. What's going on? The problem might be that you probably have more conversions that you know of, but they are not reported yet. That it might be the case that you have a lag. There is a report that you can check in Google Ads, like days to conversion. If you segment per days to conversion, you will see how many days it takes from a first click to an actual conversion. And in some cases, it might take a whole week until someone, maybe they clicked on an ad, they liked the product, and they will come a week later and purchase this product. So always exclude the last few days, depending on what's your lag, from the reports, as there might be some more conversions that are not reported there. So also looking at the wrong metrics. If a campaign is using smart bidding, you should look at these smart bidding metrics. So instead, as I mentioned, your cost per click might increase, but your conversion volume may increase as well. And you keep the same cost per conversion. So then it's a good thing, you're getting more conversions. Yeah, the cost per click is higher, but your volume is increasing. Also, avoid making constant changes to the campaign. especially major changes related to the like adding a very broad new keyword, which is kind of changing a lot, exposing the ad to a lot of new queries. This might provoke the campaign to move into learning mode again, or changing the conversion action. This will definitely move the campaign in learning mode. And of course, if impression share is too high, then there's not much for the campaign to optimize for. So if you are already over 75%, try to add some more keywords or DSAs in order to increase the headroom for optimization. Some of the traps that we keep hearing is, I've tried before, didn't work. And here are some steps that might explain your previous failures. First, low conversion volume. We mentioned that before, that it can have like an invisible impact on the campaigns. Basically, you don't see much results. You got one conversion this week and another conversion next week, and then you move to smart bidding and you got 0 conversions and then 2 conversions next week. It's difficult for you to understand whether you're doing well or not. So try to import volume and to measure these instead. The impression share problem, I mentioned again, there is no headroom for optimization, so make sure that you add more keywords and broaden the match type. Testing on a very small segment, so taking a very specific campaign. Let's say I'm taking my mobile campaign or my RLSA campaign and going to test smart bidding on this campaign. Then it will be a very kind of small scope for this campaign to optimize and to see results. I would advise you to, in general, consolidate the account a bit, give smart bidding a chance. Let's say kind of move campaigns that have higher volume or kind of a little bit more traffic. Don't start with the worst campaigns when you're testing smart bidding and say it didn't work. Start with the ones that are doing already okay and you want them to do even better. This is kind of like your best point. Then also not using best practices like what I mentioned about audiences, creatives, about all this attribution and conversion tracking. Use OptiScore, use the recommendations, and make sure you fix this as well. And also cost became astronomical with maximized conversions. So this is when advertisers compare their cost per click before and after. And yes, with maximized conversions, your cost per click is going to jump sometimes quite significantly. But have in mind that this strategy is focusing on conversion. So it's trying to get you as many conversions as possible. So it's not optimizing for a low cost per click. It is trying to get you conversions. It's trying to bid up for these high intent users. That's why your conversion your cost per click is increasing, but it's very likely that your volume of conversion is going to increase as well. So here, make sure that you have planned correctly and you have set up the daily budget of the campaign for what you are comfortable spending. And here is my also small promotion for you, something that thank you so much for staying until the end of the webinar. We are almost done. Now we'll have a questions series, but before that, make sure that you take advantage of this with Promo Navi, our dear host today. They have a great platform which can help you to automate your online marketing and some great optimization tools. So here you can use this specific exclusive promo code to start your 30-day free trial with Promo Navi. And without further ado, let's move to the questions. I hope there are any questions.
Odolena, thank you very much for the super informative presentation. And of course, we have questions here from the users. The first question, actually, I would like to answer. Will we publish the video record online? We will. It will be available from this link, so feel free to watch it over and over again. It will stay here, so don't worry. And as for the questions, so let's take the question of Miranda Smith. What is the minimum budget to run smart bidding effectively?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there is no one single answer to this. Depends on the strategy. I would say if your budget is limited, on the small scale, maybe you want to spend no more than $5 or euro per day, I would say you should use either maximize conversion value or maximize conversions. I would say these strategies kind of perform well with, let's say, 100, 150, maybe 200 euro or dollars per month. It's a good starting point, let's say. It will be, let's say, the minimum. But if you are using target CPA or target ROAS strategy, then you have to follow the recommendation in Google Ads on the budget. And if you this budget is too high for you, the recommended budget, then I would say move again to maximize conversion value or maximize conversions, and set a budget that you're comfortable with.
All right, thank you very much. Miranda, I hope that answers your question. So let's move on to the next question. How possible is it to start a target CPA on zero conversion, since Google is using the average conversion history to set bids for target CPA signals?
Yes, so with target CPA, you can start with zero conversion history in the account. Maybe your question is kind of like, how do we determine then that this account performs, since there is no history? We use data from similar accounts with similar budgets, similar conversion rates, and let's say similar vertical to determine the performance. And also, of course, the context of every query and the likelihood to convert. It will work with no conversion history. This is only one of the strategies that needs at least 15 conversions last 30 days, and this is target ROAS. All other strategies, you can start with zero history in the account, and they will start optimizing from day one to deliver for the goal of the strategy.
Okay, great. So another question, do you need to use attribution for all conversions, or may there be exceptions?
So how it works is that you do have every conversion that you create has an attribution. So while you're setting up your conversion action, you will have, by default, your attribution model will be last click. So everything basically will be attributed to the last click, which means, let's say I click on Monday, I like this product, maybe I return a few days later and see another ad and I click and I convert. Then only the second click will actually get the credit. So in Google Ads, you will see a conversion towards this specific keywords that was the second query, the second search. And we see that this is not a great model, especially for smart bidding, because as I explained, the search journey has changed. It's getting much more complex. There is a lot of different devices involved, time of the day, different types of searches, very complicated searches. So it makes sense that you attribute some value to all the different steps along the way. So there might be 3 different ads that this user clicked on along the journey. But if you use last click attribution, then your conversion value will be attributed only on this last click. So you won't see anything on the whole journey before that. With let's say if you use data-driven attribution, or if you use time decay or linear model, anything that's not last click, basically anything that's not the default attribution, this will actually give opportunity for smart bidding to see all these little broad keywords that are maybe a little bit higher up in the funnel, and understand that you are actually getting conversion started there. Maybe half of conversion or quarter of a conversion can be attributed to a keyword which is starting the journey. So it will be able to optimize also for these beginnings of the journey. Whereas if you only focus on the last click, it might look like only your brand keywords are the ones performing and everything else is a waste of money, which might you might be really wrong about that.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. So then we move on to the next question, I suppose. Does it mean that we must start with manual bidding over the past 30 days before switching to smart bidding using the account history?
So no, not anymore. So all the strategies that I mentioned, apart from target ROAS, need to have 0 conversions. They don't need any conversion history, so no need to start with manual bidding. You can start with smart bidding straight away. And I think it's even better this way because you have also a learning period with smart bidding. So the faster you get through the learning phase and through optimization of the beginning, the better. Otherwise, you have to, if you do first manual, we saw that manual is not optimum. Then you switch to smart bidding, then you have another couple of weeks of learning. So it just becomes longer and it's no longer necessary. The only strategy is target ROAS. That you need 15 conversions with conversion value over the last 30 days. So you can here either use manual or even better use maximize conversion value until you reach this 15 conversions threshold. And then you can select your ROAS goal.
Great. That being said, I think that answers the question, and we move on to another question. So a question from Ion. Where is the border between high volume and low volume for smart bidding, and is it possible to understand in advance how many time it will take for the system to learn?
Oh, that's a great question. So yeah, with the conversion volume definitely plays a role, even though campaigns with low volume can perform with smart bidding. However, if you are, let's say, I would say getting less than 30 conversions per month from a campaign, I would say that this is kind of a low volume campaign. And you might consider adding different conversions to this campaign in order to for it to be able to give you more insights, whether to see whether we are doing well or not doing well with this campaign. I would say maybe setting up, if your volume is less than 30 conversions last 30 days, maybe set up some other conversions like adding to cart or view the page, clicked on a video, something a little bit easier, not your main conversion, or maybe look on the on your funnel and try to make it easier for people to convert on the landing page, because yeah, with low volume it can perform, but it is likely that you don't see a huge improvement, and it's difficult also to attribute whether this improvement is random or is because the smart bidding strategies is working better. Let's say if you only get 10 conversions and the next week you got 11 conversions because you switched to smart bidding, does that mean that smart bidding is doing better, or it's just random? So I would say, yeah, try to get to use smart bidding on high volume campaigns, and if your campaigns in general are low volume, try to expand a bit the conversions, add different conversion types to the funnel.
All right, thank you very much. And how to correctly specify keyword themes for smart campaigns? Why is it possible to only set up to 10 themes per campaign and not more? Why is that?
10 themes per campaign. I'm not sure I understand this question correctly.
Yeah, it was actually a question given by Miranda. Miranda, could you please specify what you exactly mean? Or should we, in the meantime, move on to the next question and get back to it when we get some specification? So actually, another question from Ion on the last question, a related question. When it comes to seasonal business, how long before the start of the high season does it make sense to enable smart bidding?
Oh, that's a very good question. Yeah, definitely. I would say to start way before your top season, so that you have cleared all your, yeah, basically you've given enough time for the campaigns to learn. You've optimized everything like creatives, audience, all these kind of things that feed the little tiger of the algorithm. So I would say if your peak season is at Christmas, around August time, you should already be switching your campaigns, making sure that you have the right number of conversions, making sure that attribution model, also if you're changing attribution model, make sure that you do that before you start smart bidding, because any change on conversion level will move the campaigns in learning mode. So I would say if your top season is Christmas time, start late summer to optimize the campaign, set them up for success according to the framework which I showed, and start testing smart bidding.
All right, thank you very much. And then we have the next question from Maya Novak. There's an opinion that the daily budget of smart campaign should exceed the CPA of 10 target actions. What kind of target actions can we consider in this case?
Yeah, so this is actually, I would not say that it's an opinion, but maybe you might have heard this as a recommendation in some cases, especially for display smart campaigns, smart display campaigns, where you would have this kind of goal 10 times the CPA to give enough budget. I would say with smart bidding for search and also for display, making sure that you use the recommendations. So the recommendations will give you what's the budget that you have to select. I would say start with the budget that you kind of have allocated for this campaign. And if you've moved to target CPA and it's limited, use the simulator that's showing you how much you have to increase. There is a recommended budget, how much you would like to increase, and it will also, in some cases, simulate what this increase is going to mean in conversions and clicks. So use this estimation in order to plan the campaign and to increase. So use the recommendations that are in the user interface. Also, there is another interesting tool that you can use. There is the planner, the traffic planner that you can use in Google Ads. So there you can set your budget in the campaign. Let's say you have an existing target CPA campaign, and you can see, let's say if you're increasing the budget, what will be the effect? At what stage you will probably stop getting more conversions? There is no point for you to increase more. Or what will be the minimum, let's say, what would be the trade-off between budget and volume of conversion, where you think that you're going to have less conversions than acceptable for you. So there are a lot of tools that you can use in the interface. I would say instead of kind of assumptions on like it has to be 10 times the CPA, just use the guidance from the recommendations and the tools within Google Ads, your user interface.
Great, thank you. So that means that we have arrived to the two last questions before we round up. So one of the last two questions is why max conversion doesn't work with a shared budget?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, the moment, from my knowledge, it does not work. I think that they are working on including it into the into shared budget portfolio, but for this moment, it's not available yet. I cannot say why. It's something that's being worked on.
Great. So that means that we will just have to wait for that. So that brings us to the last question of this webinar. Let's say you've adjusted bids by all the available parameters, time schedules, locations, devices, audiences, etc. Will this interfere with the automated bidding algorithms?
So yeah, if you have existing budget adjustments for all these categories, these will be ignored by smart bidding. So smart bidding will do their own adjustments apart from the device adjustments. When you do, for example, minus 100% on mobile, this will be honored by Smart Bidding. So Smart Bidding will take this negative adjustment, but all the other location, schedule, the remarketing list adjustments will be ignored. You don't need to delete them. You can keep them in the account, but just Smart Bidding will set up their own adjustments and will use their own signals to set up the bids. Only device adjustments will be honored from all the strategies.
Okay, Odolena, thank you very much for answering the final question of this webinar, and thank you very, very much for being our guest today. It's really an honor for us. I would like to remind our viewers that there's the 30-day promo code from Odolena in the description of this video. Please feel free to use it. Please feel free to try Promo Navi for 30 days for free. And also, please be informed that you can always re-watch this video with the same link on your own pace if you need to. The video is saved and you can watch this informative webinar over and over again if you need it for your own purpose. So that being said, I'm giving the word to the guest Odolena, and I would like to thank all of you for watching this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis, and thank you everyone for the wonderful questions and your attention today and spending the whole lunch break, I don't know, wherever you're based, a whole hour of your day. I wish you good luck with your experiments with Smart Bidding, and also remember that you can always contact our support services from Google if you have any questions or some problems you would like to solve, and they'll be happy to help you out. Or if you have a contact directly from Google, someone that you work with, make sure that you work with them on Smart Bidding, and they will be happy to help you out.